Welcome to the Democrat and Chronicles version of the Section 5 High School Big Show. I'm James Johnson of the Democrat and Chronicle. Once again, excited to be able to chat with my friend, Bob Chavez at the Daily Messenger. We got a topic that's been kind of bumping around since, I would say March, since the coronavirus pandemic has kind of set in and grabbed a hold of everyone. And that is recruiting, meaning high school seniors trying to find a place to continue their athletic careers as well as their education.
Yeah, it's definitely been a question that's been put to me, in person lately, and then a lot of times you just see a lot of social media chatter about it, and especially now with football, the fall season we should be playing right now, and this is a time when the kids are playing and getting their plays for their highlight reels and stuff to send off to coaches, stuff after the season. But obviously, there's nothing right now, so it's definitely a question that a lot of people are asking about.
I mean, how has the process changed? I mean, it's something that a lot of families don't really have a good grip on. Most of the time, and that's at least been my experience.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it can get very, very confusing. Thankfully, again, in terms of football, if you go Division I, there are some really, hard rules to follow. Very strict guidelines of when you can contact, when you cannot contact, or what kind of contact you can have. And there are definitely, there are dead periods and then contact periods, and it gets a little confusing at times. But as you go to Division III, Division II levels, it's a bit more relaxed and stuff like that. So for the most part, obviously the percentages, not a lot of kids go on to play college sports. But even the ones that do, the big majority of them are Division II, Division III kids. So it's the bottom line that I've learned from doing the research on this. The process is now is the time when, like I said, kids are playing and getting the plays for their videotapes and their highlight reels. And then after the season's over, they start jumping into the college search and trying to figure out, which ones they want to go to. But right now, a lot of kids are being told, now is the time to do that research on your college, where you want to play, who you want to play for, get your application in, get all that stuff settled so that, if football is played in March and April, then you can concentrate on the season and then figure it out after that.
It seems like it's been a very dizzying thing. I mean, what do you send? What do you send college coaches? I mean, if you don't get on film?
Well, that's the thing right now. It's tough because it's one thing to be missing the season like the kids are now, but they also miss summer camps. And the college coaches I talked to said that's pretty huge. Far and away, they prefer game film or seeing a kid play in person because you really can't replicate, a hand in your face on defense, when you're practicing or just running some routes at a camp, but still they see enough at camp. They can see your hustle. So that's what coaches are missing right now. They're missing games, from this fall, and they're missing summer camps. So right now, the focus from the coaches I've been talking with was like get your non-football stuff in order, so that when the March and the April games roll around, you're going to have a pretty tight window when that season's over to make your decision from both ends, from the college and the high school kid. So have your non-football stuff in order so that once that season is over, you can put your film together or have your conversations about football right after that.
How are college coaches, the folks, the men and women who are sent out to recruit athletes, how are they handling this? What can they do? What can't they do? What have they decided to do? Especially with you have, it seems like there's maybe a little bit of a log jam brewing up.
Yeah, I mean, the coaches at the college level are kind of it's a blessing and a curse because one, at least here in New York, they're not playing, like at the U of R and at Fisher and at Brockport and Hobart, so, they're not preparing for their own games. They have all kinds of time to go and recruit and watch recruits, but then the high school kids aren't playing either. So there's nothing to go watch. They're watching a lot of film. They're taking a hard look at a lot of junior film which is still pretty in terms of college. I mean, I know one coach told me that, most times they have decisions made after the junior year of an athlete. And of course, every now and then you have some seniors who kind of blossom or sprout late, so they can make and they develop. So they come in late there, but by and large, they're looking at some junior film right now, and they're going to be pretty eager to get out in March because they're going to have time again to go see those March and April games.
I see that we have a comment here asking. Maybe we'll take a little sidetrack away from the topic a little bit. There's someone asking, why is it that the NFL can play but not high school football players?
Well, I think what you're looking at there are two different levels. I mean, there's just and it has a lot to do. My guess is it just has a lot to do with money. I mean, you can if you're in the NFL, you have your own private practice facility. You have the medical staff team and your staff and them only. Whereas and you can afford to keep everybody in a bubble, so to speak, that they tried in other leagues. But at high school you have kids going to school, you have kids riding buses, you have kids going home, and who knows what they're doing. Some of them are they're working, so you don't have that protection of the bubble, and opposite the high school level, you just can't afford to do that.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is kind of seeped down through everything, especially college recruiting, which we're talking about today, particularly in football. I mean, are college coaches changing their routines? What they're looking at. You mentioned that junior year film now is like gold on both ends of the spectrum, or on both sides of the recruiting process. As far as I'm reading that a lot of college athletes have an additional year of eligibility and stuff. Would that kind of cool a recruiter's jets as far as trying to look for players, or no?
Yes and no. I mean, kind of to the first question, with our coaches changing their routine at the college level, and some are and some are not. It kind of depends on the school you're looking at, because they have what they call a cycle, and it really depends on the school itself overall and the admissions process. One coach I talked with said, the kids have until May 1st to make a decision. And then I know even a couple years ago, Mike Nowitzki at Victor there, he was a late commit. He got a late offer from the University at Buffalo, and he switched gears from lacrosse and went to Buffalo for football. And he was one of those late offers. So, it worked out pretty well for him. But other coaches at other schools are like, no, I like to have my team wrapped up, or my recruits wrapped up and signed, sealed, and with their deposit paid by the end of February. So it all depends on the school you talk to. The cycles are all different, at different schools. Then in terms of, that extra year of eligibility, that is definitely an issue. That he had a list of 5 schools he was looking at, and they were looking at him. But then they found out that, 2 schools, they had some other running backs coming back for that extra year. So that recruit said, he crossed those 2 schools off his list, and now he's down to 3.
It's a pretty dizzying process, I'll tell you that. I mean, is there any kind of advice that's kind of that recruiters are willing to share outside of handling the off the field stuff, having your grades in order and everything else ready to go?
The biggest thing I've been told from a couple of college coaches is, just the whole process is pretty much reversed. Get your, figure out what schools you wanted to go to that maybe, is going to be the fit for you, the coaches you like. Make your visits. You can still take your visits, where they're allowed, in person. Go to the campus, figure it out, see what it feels like, and if you like it, get your application in, and then once that season is there in March and April, hopefully, then you can focus on, the physical, the football part, and get it done. And when it's all done, you're going to have 2-3 weeks to make a quick decision, but at least all the paperwork will be in order.
Wow. I can't wait for this story to come out. Check both publications, the Democrat and Chronicle and the Daily Messenger in Canandaigua, to see Bob Chavez's information that he's collected as far as how this recruiting game is working. I mean, I know there are a lot of families across a lot of sports who are trying to figure out what to do. And I know that there are a lot of high school coaches, at least in this area, they're kind of concerned, how do we get our graduated seniors to go where they want to go and do what they want to do?
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot to figure out, a lot to sort out, and definitely some curveballs. But if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask the coaches. Talk to your high school coaches because they have connections too, and they'll be willing to help you out.
All right, everyone. I want to thank everyone for taking a listen to us, and come back next week here to the Section 5 High School Big Show, Democrat and Chronicle Daily Messenger style.
Thank you.